But yeah, get up there and then
All right.
look forward to hearing from you.
Okie dokie.
All right, everybody says Brian Mike from Pennsylvania. It's Mike.
It's just Mike.
Pennsylvania.
It's just Mike.
God
It's just Mike.
damn it.
It's just Mike.
Where's my stool? Anyway,
I'll get your stool.
good evening, everybody. I'm Michael Quinn. I'm visiting from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. My son is stationed in the Air Force Base here, and thank you for letting me tighten up my bit here. From PA, I brought some gifts with me. I brought the Amish flu. You guys didn't hear about the Amish flu?
No.
Well, at first you get a little horse, then you get a little buggy. Little buggy. That's kind of like my yoga joke. It's a bit of a stretch, but I'm a veteran as well. That's why I'm limping, walking with a cane at the ripe age of 47 because I was in the Army for 20 years, and that's why I made my son go in the Air Force. Because I'm like, you don't want to be treated like that. You don't want to be shot at. Go be. So there I was, halfway through my military career. You have to get promoted to the next rank when you're an enlisted person. You're like a sergeant. To make sergeant first class, I had to go be one of those scumbag frickin' recruiters. You know what I mean? Hey buddy, what are you doing after high school? You know, I had to go be one of those guys. But I had to get promoted, so I had to do it, right? So, driving this kid down to get his physical, and I knew him for weeks already. He was 17, his parents had to sign the paperwork, so I had a good rapport with him. He was comfortable with me. He turns over and looks at me, it's like an hour-long drive. He's like, hey Sergeant Quinn, when you were in Iraq, did you ever kill anybody? I'm like, yo dude, you don't ask people stuff like that. Now come on. But hey, you're gonna join the Army today, right? Yeah, okay. Well, like when my son asked this question, I'm gonna be honest with you, just like I was with him. Yes, I actually killed 3 people. Car gets all silent. He's, thought you said you were a helicopter mechanic. You fucker, I didn't say I was a good one. We all have our skills, you know. Jeez, we can't all kick in a door and carry a big gun. Damn. Yeah, it was a long career. Well, let's get into how I got disabled, and you know, I have 2 fake hips. My pelvis was rebuilt because in Iraq, a big chunk of straps metal, something just blasted out a big chunk of my hip over here. I have not much of a right ass cheek, but we're convoying to the next site, and we're driving down the road, and the Humvee in front of me just boom, turned into a big ball of flames. Our Humvee just like got blown backwards, just boom, wheels to the sky. Holy shit! It was just huge, big crater, like it was some kind of and. What the hell do? You know what I mean? I mean, we weren't trained for, well, you're upside down. I mean, you're buckled in, you're getting shot at, there's smoke, there's freaking people are panicking. You know, you finally, I was one of the first guys to get out, and I stumbled up to that next vehicle where our company commander was, and holy shit, the only freaking body there was him, Captain Campos. And you wouldn't think a person would be alive, let alone conscious, screaming. Let his left side, his left arm and left leg totally blown the frick off. No left arm, no left leg, and I go running up to, but I'm not like a medic, you know, helicopter mechanic guy. And I go run up to him, I'm like, but what do you say to a guy with no left arm and no left leg? I'm like, hey sir, you're gonna be all right now, get it? It's just right, all right. Hey, he didn't get it either, okay? He didn't, you know, it's okay. Cripes, guy was an asshole. He didn't, I wasn't supposed to go to Iraq. He didn't get it. He died. He's cricket. Comedy doesn't have to be real, people. Come on. 10% of my bullshit's true. All right. Anyway, where were we? Well, gosh. First time I was in Iraq, my wife cheated on me. We had email the whole time, and a couple months in, I get this email from Karen Notestein. That's my neighbor lady back there in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Well, how did she even get my email? Well, long story short, opened the email. Dear Mike, don't know how to say this. I just caught our spouses having an affair, red-handed. It's true. Motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like how I couldn't go back stateside for another like 2 months, you know? Stuck there with all, you know, I was 27. Emotions, anger, rage. You're in freaking Iraq. You know, you have 3 kids. You're your high school sweetheart who's banging a neighbor guy. And I was angry. A couple months later when I got home, you know, drink, good Pennsylvania boy, Yingling beer. Drink. I got in late at night. Neighbor guy, everybody goes to physical training at 6 in the morning. So as he's leaving his house to go, I beat the living shit out of him. I was all drunk, but I got him. I got even. MPs got involved, all this shit. Later on that day, I thought it was a good idea. In that state of mind, all drunk, my high school sweetheart's having an affair. I ended up at a tattoo parlor. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have this Arabic writing on my forearm here. Maybe some of you guys in the back can't see it, but right there, I have Arabic writing. And I went into the tattoo parlor, and I had my buddy with me who was more sober. And I said, hey, I want you to write here on my wrist, I want my ex-wife is a whore. Put that shit on there. Good, that's what I want on there. But my buddy's like, dude, come on, you want to make sure it says something. People have walk around tattoos that don't say what they're supposed to say, you know what I mean? So we actually paid for the translation service for Farsi Arabic to say that, turns out, there's no actual letter X in the Arabic language. So to be grammatically correct, it has to say, my old wife is a whore. Good enough, close enough for me. Bzz, 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 put that shit on there. A couple days later, had to go back to Iraq. Mid-tour leave was over. I'm in an Army tent, almost the size of this room. About 20 Army guys, they all knew me. They knew what happened with the wife beating the shit out of the guy. The MPs got involved. And I go, you guys are gonna love this. Come here. I rolled up my sleeve. Translator dude, come here. Tell me what it says. And the dude comes over to me, he goes, why you get tattoo says, no search result. What do you mean no search results? Why you get this tattoo no search? That's fucking 100% true. My other bullshit Iraq stuff was a goddamn lie. I'm walking around with no fucking search results on my goddamn forearm for fucking years now. I'm glad I got it in Arabic. That's why you fucking get shit in a different language. That's true, motherfuckers. I'm telling you. Deserves a drink, anyway. Intermission joke. Do you guys know where pirates nowadays buy their hooks from?
No.
Secondhand stores.
I like how it's his intermission joke. I have a little beer now.
Well, I have a post-intermission joke. All right. Gosh. You guys know what a perverted frog says?
What?
Rub it. Anyway. So, let's get into my dating life, shall we? Divorced twice. Not too long ago, a couple months ago, I found out what Tinder was, the whole dating app. Heard about it, but got on there. And you don't have to be there. Look, I'm a guy in my 40s, right? I get it. I don't understand all the technology. I can make my way, though. But you don't have to be on there long. Women, whether in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, a lot of them have that stupid dog face filter on. You know, the ears, like the dog nose over there, superimposed over their picture. What is that about? So I wasn't getting any hits. None. Zero. So I'm like, boy, come here, teenage son. Dude, I'm going to send you this picture. You put that stupid dog ear face, right? Good, send it back. I uploaded that picture of me with the stupid dog ears. The next day ever, I'm getting freaking hits. The hottest woman ever, like 10 years younger than me. Fake boobies, everything. Beautiful, perfect body, right? Then she asked me, we matched, what's with this stupid dog ear picture? So, I had to play it off, right? Well, that's because I got qualities like a dog. Oh, do tell. Well, I'm loyal as hell. I sure do like to lick things. And I know how to bury a bone, you know what I'm saying? I never heard back from her. She was the same one that, we're texting back and forth, and she's like, I don't know how you feel about this old guy, but I got both of my nipples pierced. Guys, fellas, what do we say when a girl says something like that, texting, right? Prove it, show me, right? You're alive, show it, prove it, right? So the next text I got back was a receipt from the piercing pagoda.
Nice.
A picture of the receipt. That was funny shit, you should laugh.
I did laugh, I'm taking notes.
Well, my last girlfriend was really into role play, and it was her thing, not mine. It started a couple years ago with the Halloween outfits, and I just thought it would be funny to go as a pregnant nun, and then she went as a priest, but and it started from that, and it went from there, but it was her thing. A couple months into it, she's like, come on, Mike, it's your night. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What character, who do you want me to be? Come on, it's your fantasy. I'm like, honey, I'm not into it, it's your thing. She's like, come on, what are you into? I'm like, the only thing I'm into is Transformers. You know that, I love Transformers. Optimus Prime, transform and roll out. She said, come on, would you grow up? Stop. Hey, this is my fantasy. You are nothing but a Cybertronian taco truck whore. Transform and get sucking. She's like, oh my God, can you take our sex life seriously? You're so childish. Oh my God. Like, why wouldn't you fucking take me serious? She goes, right. I'm like, honey, no. Don't go. I can change. Hey. She didn't come back either. Anyway. Gosh, how am I for time?
Oh, you're good. You ready for feedback, or you have some more?
Well, it's time to break out the old joke book then. No, not yet.
Let
Let's
me
see.
fix my legs real quick.
Amish flu yoga, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I hit them all. Oh, no. No, I didn't hit them all. So the last one I want to close out with then. More about my dating life. Last thing was another hookup. I met up with this girl, beautiful. And it's just that she only had pictures from the one side of her face. You could never see. And I just thought, everything's great. We're communicating great. It's been in like a week or two. We finally met for the first date. But I just thought it would be something like a mole or like a beauty mark or something like that, like a whatever. But when I met her, she had one of those lazy eyes. Which, I mean, it didn't even work out between me and her because she was seeing people on the side, you know. Thank you, everybody. I welcome your feedback.
Nice job. All right. Anybody want to start with some feedback for Mike? And why don't we do this? You can either sit on the stool, or if you want to kind of just be more comfortable and have.
I'm good right here. How about that?
You're good there?
Fine. Yeah.
I'm going to leave this chair just in case folks want to sit and take. Sometimes people want the chair. So.
All right. Well, it's there, so we'll do it.
All right. Any thoughts for Mike, or do you want me to start? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought you had great energy, and your
Yep.
when you explain your stories, you're really good. And I really liked when there was a punchline where you said, "I didn't say it was a good one." I thought that was super great delivery. Yeah, when you act like a dog, I thought when you're the dog guy, I thought you could even act more like a. I like that, you know what I mean? Like kind of act out a little bit more, but I mean your act outs were great. Your stories were really interesting too. And then I thought when you were your girlfriend and she's like, can't you take our sex life any serious? Like you could even put like your hands so you totally turn into a girl. Like, can't you take her and go, do the voice. I think it's really funny when guys talk like girls in their normal voice, but their bodies kind of act.
And I do have my mother's hips, so it's.
So you can do that. But I really enjoyed it. I thought you had great energy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good stuff. You got notes?
I agree. I love the Amish flu one. Don't sweat the ass thing you talked about because I've never had half of it blown off and I still have no ass. Helicopter had a really good punch to it.
Yeah.
Trying to read my notes. Sorry. I wrote down cheating wife, but I didn't write what my thought was next to it.
Uh-oh. That's okay.
So, Second Amendment. Yeah, on the, maybe that one was with the nipple pierce one. I'm trying to think of suggestions to punch up your punch on it. Because you want to make sure that, especially if it takes a while to get to that punch, always remember the economy of words in comedy. But if it takes a while, you need that punch to be worth you need the juice to be worth the squeeze.
Right.
So if anyone has suggestions on how we can do that, feel free to plop them out there. On the opposite side, I was going to say, I liked your joke with the, I don't know what that says, but I liked your joke with the Humvee, all right? There was that and something else here, I just didn't read my notes. The only thing to watch is it is heavy material. All right, so I almost wouldn't even try to joke in the first part about when you were talking about the explosion, and then just pull that joke out at the end.
Yeah.
You give your opinion. I mean, I could be off.
thought
Yeah,
it was good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I found that's one of my like first like holy fuck, that's one of my best,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, does it, how is
And-
it when you're on stage? People love
and
it.
some people's jaws fucking drop. Like,
Yeah.
like I did it at an old folks home, like I think outskirts of Pittsburgh. They hated it. He's making fun of soldiers dying, and I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, guys, it's not even real. I mean, that part is not, it's bullshit made up. You know, I did lose, but it didn't happen. You know, I have to explain to people. I did get fucked up in Iraq, but it wasn't in that way. That's just what's best for the story. You know, it's
Yeah.
I found that works.
Well,
you
and
know.
I'm gonna work with that when I have my turn. I'm gonna write because I have something set up. But keep going.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. You are going to get some people that will get touchy with it.
Well, can I ask the crowd then? So the one thing I always liked about that particular, and I'm glad you brought that up, was, you know, right there, and like different times I'm trying to think now, and I'm put on the spot. I probably won't, but you know, it gets a lot of reactions where I say that he died anyway, and then like it's like as long as 2 or 3 of them start laughing, then other people pick up on it. But it's like sometimes I feel like. How do I save it from here? If it's a dead crowd and they're not laughing, because it's happened in that old folks home.
Sure, yeah.
You know, I'm like, shit. Hey, how about some dick jokes or something?
Right.
Well, this one old guy at that retirement home, he told me, he's like, all right, thanks for the comedy. I gotta go take my Viagra. I'm like, well, you're not Viagra. You're like in your 90s. He goes, hey, they give it to all of us. It keeps us when we go to sleep. It keeps us from rolling off the bed.
Like that's very cute.
Kickstand, yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna use that, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
So one last suggestion, it's just kind of a stage etiquette thing. When you go up there, and I noticed you were using the stand, I imagine part of that's balance because you put the cane down.
Yeah.
But just kind of take it and move it to the side, whatever side you're gonna hold it on, instead of in front of you. And I think you eventually did move it.
You know what? I usually always take the mic off and kind of like I'm always.
Yeah.
It just seems to be like my kind of because there was like 3 times already where I actually video where I'm like walking and my hip gave out. I'm like, fuck, man.
Sure,
And
no,
I'm like,
you should-
that wasn't part of it, but
Yeah.
I'm
Use
okay.
that
Thank
for
you. It's okay to
support.
laugh.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's good. Yeah,
So-
a little bit to
Yeah.
the side, but definitely for support.
Yeah.
That's what I was
a
saying.
very
Just
good
move it
idea.
From directly in front of you, so move it here and use it for support, you know?
You couldn't see me behind that. Is that what it was?
Just-
It
Well,
could
it's
be a
totally
bit.
like-
Yeah, my mother's hips
Yeah,
would have said
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But I also think it could be a little distracting. So you can put it a little to the side, but it's also it makes for a cool persona for you. It works.
Yes.
It works. It's not going to work for everybody, but the way you kind of held it and you're kind of talking to us in casual, it worked. I liked it a lot. Just I understand about moving it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, no, I agree with you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
He
looked
looked
good.
casual
Yep.
with it there.
And I want you to feel safe up there, not worry about your
Yeah.
ass cheek falling off.
Yeah,
So.
well, it's all right off, but it's.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a yeah. Do you want to see it? No,
After.
I showed it the other night when I was at the party.
afterwards.
Oh,
I look
afterwards,
forward
sorry.
to that. Any other notes for Mike?
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My advice, just for every somebody gave me this advice when I started out, and I did it. I took an improv class,
Yes.
and I think it definitely helps you as a comedian, because there's some guys that just stand up there and they're even if they're not monotone, but it just adds so much when you actually act like. There was one bit that I'm working on where I'm like, so there I was in Afghanistan looking for
People
mines.
love that.
And
love
you
it.
know, and so that's in the works, but I haven't really, so it's just like, I just think that acting stuff out, so there I was
Love
digging
it.
a hole, you know what I mean? I think that just
People love
adds
to
to the
see
story.
act out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you everybody, I really appreciate it. Thanks
I
for
got
being.
one.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
No, or else I wouldn't be worth it coming to see me. So I just have a few really good stuff, and I agree with everybody. Except Greg, very weak notes. No, I'm kidding. Just teasing. So
Anything I ever say, just,
Yeah.
it's advice.
No,
Just
it's
take
all
it.
good.
It's your
I'm
choice, you
teasing
know?
you. I thought the Amish flu and getting buggy those were very cute and refreshing puns, and they work for you. Again, so, and a lot of things it's like it's your look, your personality, and some things are going to work, and that works nicely for you. I love, and I wasn't even in the service, but I really enjoy the Army to Air Force comparisons, or anything to Air Force, because, and correct me if I'm wrong with my understanding of history, is that the other services have been around for so long, by the time the Air Force came along, they were able to do things and make people more comfortable, you know. So it's like the Army barracks and the Marines, like they have kind of like shit accommodations, and the Air Force is nicer, right? So it's always funny, like, yeah. So when you talk, I love the way you were like, I was in the Army, so I told my son to be in the Air Force, and you can maybe come up with, there's that rule of 3. If you come up with like 3 funny comparisons,
You
like
know what, you're right. That is a good
it's
point.
just
Yeah.
fun. Like I took a motorcycle riding class, and the guy was in the Air Force. He talked about. He's like, when we figured it out was when some Army guys came to our place, you know, whatever, and we asked them, how do you want your eggs? And they were like, huh? Like, no one had ever asked them. No one had ever given a shit. It's like, eat that. And Air Force is like, you know,
The Air Force is like,
holidays?
would eggs Benedict be okay?
So I think there's gold there because people enjoy it, even a civilian like me. The recruiter thing, there's so much good shit in there. I love the whole sleazy recruiter thing because, and what you might play with, you may not like it, but what you might play with, because you're like you said, you're calling this kid, hey, what are you doing after high school? You could kind of make this whole parallel with you're like the sleazy guy with the van, you know, offering the candy. Like,
Do you have a 17-year-old sister by chance?
Exactly. What are you wearing?
Right, that
you know,
shit.
like
Yeah.
you can like kind of like take it really far and silly, but you are a recruiter, but somehow make that parallel to you're the creepy guy with the mirrors on his shoes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then you somehow you got him in the van, you know, and I think that would be really funny. It was hysterical.
Good point. Good
I liked
good
and I
perspective.
liked all the stuff you did there. I just think there was so much more to do with that crazy recruiter. There's, and thank you for your service, and I'm really sorry about your ass, but this is hysterical stuff. The fact that you lost your right ass cheek, there's just like a lot you can do that, and this is where I'm going with it. Okay, so there's a couple things. I think that the story you tell about the crash, I think there's things that we could just tweak it just a little bit so that it's more generally appealing, because that's kind of the secret of comedy, right? And you guys already know, like, you're not telling stories that, you know, your Uncle Phil loves and no one else is going to get. Like, you get that, and that's great, because that's the hardest part, right? Making it relatable. You've got a relatable thing, because we're all, like, frankly, even though I take a lot of notes, I was kind of like, now what happened? You know, everybody into the stories. Maybe if the guy doesn't, because it's a fake story, so I'm not dishonoring the memory of someone real.
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe if the guy doesn't die, and maybe if his injuries are serious, but maybe not catastrophic.
Yeah.
But you could still get your right size thing in,
Right.
like, you know, his arm was real fucked up. You have to be,
Yeah.
you know, or something like that. But what I think would be to go 2 things. One, I love the whole helicopter pilot thing. So, like, do more with that. Like, you know, the crash happens, you get up and you're like running around with a wrench, or like you're totally, you know, and like you're running over with your toolbox,
that's
and you're
a good
totally
idea.
useless, and you're just like, and you're like, you know, he's like, my arm, and you're like, socket wrench, I don't know what to do, you know, like, I have no idea what to do, you know, and stuff like that. And then and then you have this big story and this guy, and you make the pun, and then, son of a bitch, you know, but then make it dramatic and make it all start, and everybody's like, oh my god, and you're like, and now let me tell you the real story. And I don't know if how you really lost your butt cheek is funny. It probably is not. But maybe you could come up, because after this big dramatic thing, right, this big dramatic story, maybe you could come up with like a really simple story about how you got hurt, and it's like the opposite of that. Or maybe not, you know.
Yeah, like
but
I
just,
slipped and fell in the shower or something.
something
fall on
like that.
Iraq.
Or like if anyone has ever watched Orange is the New Black, if you've ever seen the show, there was the one guard who was missing a leg, and everybody knew he had been to Iraq, and they were like, oh, thank you for your service. It turned out he went into a hot tub in Florida with a boo-boo, and he got stabbed. You know, it was like
A staff, yeah.
yeah, stabbed Iraq. And the one prisoner's like, yeah, stick with the Iraq story. You know? So maybe
I got a staph infection from a toilet in Iraq.
yeah, something like that, you know, something like that, or it's just something to play with. And then the wife cheating with the neighbor is hysterical I'm sorry, it's not, but it's,
That
in
is
your
true.
comedy
That
it
is
is,
true.
because one, the neighbor lady emailing you, there's a lot you can do with that. One, well, you know, at first I was gonna be like, what the fuck kind of neighbor is this? Like, what business is it of hers? Oh, well, it was her husband, so there's that. But like, you know, something about, you know, the email, like more about that. I just thought there was a lot there. It was great stuff. And when you opened up a can of whoop ass on the guy, I think that, because you beat him up, I think you should emphasize a couple. Well, one, you said, oh yeah, because you were like, you know, my wife's having an affair, I'm 27, I'm stuck in Iraq, and I'm down one ass cheek, for Christ's sake. Like, you know, I emphasize the ass cheek. You gotta keep doing that ass cheek because it's awesome. And then when you beat the guy up, use your cane and give his right ass cheek like 3 more hits than you would have. You know, just really, I just think bring it home. It's just so funny.
I can only sit in lopsided up.
I am always leading.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even do a reverse cowgirl because I'm always leading.
That's true.
You know, I figured out so.
I can't.
The thing with that, that tattoo thing is true, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's
It is. It's
hysterical.
absolutely
That is hysterical. I would just tighten it up a little bit. Tighten it up. It was a great, when you got to no search result, that was hysterical.
Because that was one it's such a long, and you know how they say in a perfect world you should have a laugh every 30 seconds, but it's just like I went back and I'm like, God damn, no, I think I should just keep it this way, like, because there wasn't a lot of, it's like a long build up. It's a longer story, you know, to get, but it's right. That's okay.
I think it's fine. I think the rules of 3, a joke every 30 seconds. These are good guidelines.
But guidelines.
And one thing you might want to consider, even as you build up, right? You can have little releases in there because your big wow is, you know, search engine results. But along the way, you go to the tattoo parlor and you want this done, and there's no X. How the fuck do they not have an X? And you can just say all these things they have in Iraq. How do they not fucking have an X? Like, and then you can have a little breath of funny, and then get back to your setup. So all I'm saying is, you don't have to time it and say every 30, but if you say, yeah, this is a long setup, I'm gonna put 2 little punches in there to keep the audience with me as I go, I think it'll be fine. Just something to consider. I agree too, like with the dog qualities, it was very cute, a little bit more dog expression would be adorable. And yeah, the pierced nipples. My only thing is you might want to be like, and then she sent me the picture, and it was taking forever to load. I was like, oh, these must be really big. This is
There you go.
There you go. You know, like you just a little bit like, oh, you know, that gives us the anticipation, and then more of a letdown when it was received. And yeah, I just thought the Transformer physical comedy was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah.
Everybody loves physical and I agree with you as far as what's really fun when someone's telling a story the way you were, like when it would be fun just, and you know, be careful with, you know, just use the thing for balance. But when you're telling a great story like that, be very direct about your persona as the Transformer and then her persona as the, you know,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
And do the voices and stuff, and because people will be right in there with, people love stories with characters like that. But the physical comedy was
You're right.
fun.
You're very right about that, and I never thought about that because like I thought about shit like that when it was the recruiter, the kid in the car, and I'm like back and forth. Like, did you ever get right? Like that whole kind of like you get
Absolutely.
like we're right. So yeah,
then
you're right.
people are there with you.
Yeah.
And maybe you could even do a kid voice. It doesn't have to be overdone, but like, you know, like a little bit lower register. But he's like, hey, you know, a little bit starry. Like, hey, did you ever kill anybody? Oh, what are you talking about? You know, and just kind of play with voices. Great work. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.